pressure memories sa power series, no? Given any higher order linear ordinary differential equation, even with constant and most especially variable coefficients of this form, y double prime plus a function of x, y prime, plus another function of x cubed x, y, is equal to phi of x. We could assume that there is a solution of the form y is equal to the summation of c of n times x to the power of n from n is equal to 0 to infinity. Okay? So, morning formula to memorize on for us to perform power series solution. And ito na derive to get y prime. And derive again to get y double prime. Substitute na to sa atong original equation. And then perform algebra and simplification for us to get the general solution for our differential equation. No? That may seem simplistic, no? Mubo lang mga, few steps lang. But I think na ato na observe last time nga, medyo taas-taasan siya nga, taas ng solution, no? And mostly algebra, gid ang magdala ani nga solution. Okay? So let's say, for example, let's try to solve one particular ordinary differential equation given x squared plus 1 y double prime plus x y prime minus y is equal to 0. Okay, so clearly, dito makagamit og method of undetermined coefficients because variable ang mga coefficients sa atong ODE. Okay? So, I guess that's it, no? One ang given. What do we do? Just substitute the assumed solution, just like MUC. Substitute the assumed solution and its derivatives to our original equation. So if this is y, to pangitaon or isolve si y prime and y double prime. Y prime would then be equal to the summation of constant times naog lang ang exponent n cn xn minus 1. But now, ang index sa atong summation mag-start sa 1. Okay? Dili 0. Kaya kung 0, 0 mangyapon, no? There is no this expression or there is no this function starting from 0. And y double prime is equal to, inaog lang yapon ng exponent, the summation of n minus 1 c sub n x n minus 2. Okay, di naman siguro sa papel. Starting from 2 to infinity. Okay. So, marami siya. Substitute na ito ng tagsa-tagsa sa atong original given equation. So, itsura na po. X squared plus 1 times y double prime. Okay. So, x squared plus 1 y double prime is this one. X squared plus 1, the summation of n is equal to 2 to infinity of n minus 1 C of n x n minus 2. Yeah, ano na siya? Plus x y prime, this one, summation from n is equal to 1 to infinity of n c sub n x to the power of n minus 1 minus y. The summation from 0 to infinity of x sub n to the power of x to the power of n equal to 0. Okay, next step. What's the next step? Kinsay maka-mention sa next step na to? Either chat or microphone. Hindi naka-remember. Distribute. Okay, pwede ta mag-distribute. Sige. Distribute na ito una. Especially this one. And this one. Yeah, after ana himon og ang index. Okay. So later, sige. That's very good. Himon og n is equal to 1 or n is equal to 2. Okay. But first, ato na si distribute. So collect no. Para simpler ang atong next steps. Okay, so this would become, so i-distribute na to si x squared dire. No? So si ato nang tagsaon na. The summation n is equal to 2 to infinity of n minus 1 c sub n x to the power of n minus 2 times x squared. Okay? Mao pa ni siya. Kani. Plus 1. So plus another this one. Plus the summation n is equal to 2 to infinity of n minus 1 c sub n x n minus 2. Okay. So kani is just this one. Okay? So ato ni isulod si x dire, itapad na to kay x to the power of n minus 1 plus the summation of n is equal to 1 of infinity n c sub n x n minus 1 times x. Okay? Then, I think it's nice looking kung si negative 1 is isulod na to. No? Para malag positive summations lang sa tunan. Plus n is equal to 0, infinity, negative 1, c sub n, x, n equal to 0. Okay? And then, i-simplify. Okay? Kani, if i-simplify niyo sa may tabo, simbilin dire. X to the power of n. Okay, very good. The summation of n minus 1, c sub n, x to the power of n na lang. No? N is equal to 2 to infinity plus, okay, so mo pa ni siya. Kani, okay, as is. Kani, the same, no? The same ani kanina. So, 1 kay 1, n minus 1 plus 1, x to the power of n na lang. N, c sub n, x to the n. No? I think sakto na siya. And last but not least, just copy. Okay. Right. Next step is katong himuon og Actually, napay-step before ta mag-add to sa index or indices sa summation. Ato sa yung iparehas tanan. No? Tanan powers. Okay? Very good. Mon og x to the power of n tanan. So, okay, check na ni. Check na po na. Kanina lang. Because this is n minus 2, ato i-shift. No? Shift n to what? So, i-shift na to dito para, yes, very good, n plus 2. So, para may muning n na lang. So, we shift n plus 2. Meaning, all n's sa kaninga expression is replaced by n plus 2, even kaning n. So, this becomes n plus 2. So, n plus 2 is equal to 2. May manig n equal to 0. Okay? So, copy lang sa nakakutanan ha. Summation is equal to 2 to infinity n minus 1 c times n to the power of times x to the power of n plus later na siya. Copy sa nako. So all n's here replaced by n plus 2. No? So n plus 2 is equal to 2. That would become 0. N plus 2. N plus 2 minus 1. N plus 1. C of n plus 2. X to the power of n. Okay, first objective, check. Tanan, x is na x of n. Then, para ma-combine sila, kato, himo na ito ng mga indices og equal. No? Tungod kay 2 ang highest, we have no choice but ipang shift ni sila tanan to 2. No? So, ipagawas na to, magpagawas tag duha ka expression sa ani, para kani may mong 2. Kani mo pagawas tag isa ka expression, para may munig 2. Kani mo pagawas tag duha pa ka expression para may munig 2. Okay? So, as is ni siya. Plus. What do you think is the first expression, Ani? Substitute all n's by 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. Para mapagawa si 0. So, 2 times 1, that's 2. C, 0 plus 2 is 2. X squared. Ano, x0. X0 is 1. So, the first term na atong mapagawas is 2C2. Very good. 2C2. Okay? So, na n equal to 1 na. Pagwas na po na to. N equal to 1. 1 plus 2 is 3 times 1 plus 1 is 2. That's 6. C, 1 plus 2 is 3. C3, x to the power of 1. X to the power of 1. Okay? Okay so far? Such that, pwede na tayo magsugod anin niya og 2. Summation at n is equal to 2 to infinity of this same function. Okay. So technically, pareha lang no? Kani siya, kani sila tanan, ug kani, pareha ra. Okay. So this involves from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, so on and so forth. So mani iyang 0, mani iyang 1, ang sugod tag 2. Okay. So I hope that's clear. Kani siya, ipagawas na tong isa, no? Starting from 1 naman ta dire, di na unlike kanina nga 0. So mag-start tag 1 dire. So para 2 na ni magsugod, at ipagawas si 1, C1x plus, substitute 1 to all ends, C1 times x. C1 times x. Okay. Plus, summation n is equal to 2. Okay, nagsugod na tag 2. Infinity. Okay. Sorry. Last. Kani siya. So, duha gyapon ka expression ato ipagawas. Si n equals to 0, si n equals to 1. Plus C, say, of course, yung negative 1, carry over na siya per me. C0, okay, C0. X over 0 is 1, C sub 0. Plus, still negative 1, C1x. C1x. Plus, the same. Pero 2 na siya. Summation of n is equal to 2 to infinity of negative 1 Cn xn equal to 0. Okay. Well, technically, makancel out ni sila. So, natay tulo ka constants. 2C2, 6C3, and negative C0. Okay. Okay, i-write sila yung papel. Our solution becomes 2C2 plus 6C3 plus negative CO. And notice, tanan nga tong summation 2 ng index. Tanan to x is x to the power of n ang exponent. So, pwede na ito sila ma-umbrella sa isa ka summation. Summation from n is equal to 2 to infinity of x to the power of n such that yung coefficients is kani n minus 1 Cn plus n plus 2 n plus 1 Cn plus 2 diba? Plus NCN diba? Minus Cn. Minus Cn. Okay. Equal to 0. Okay. Sige, observe sa kadyot. Okay. For this equation to be true, pwede natin siya i-equate to 0, no? Meaning, x c, okay. Yeah, sakto. Siya x to that. Thank you. Okay, very good. So, malipat po ta. Okay, I think sakto na siya. So, for this equation to be true, ato i-equate ni sila mga expression. Equate nato ni sila nga mga expressions to 0. Meaning, this is equal to 0, and this is equal to 0. So, pwede na ito ilain si marami tawag sa mga coefficient sa polynomial, the same atong method of determining coefficient. So, i-equate nato na ito 0. Okay. Actually, mausan ni sila. Dili man siya constant, kaya naman siya x. So, technically, ang constant to day is kanila day 2. No? So, i-equate natin ito 0, ang mga constants. 2 C2 minus C sub 0 is equal to 0. Okay? So, na natin expression for C2. Therefore, C2 is equal to 1/2 C sub 0. Okay? Next, ang constants, ang x to the power of 1. No? So, x to the power of 1 sa right-hand side, 0 gyapon. So, 6C3 is equal to 0. So, natin expression for C3. C3 is equal to 0. Okay. Marbitaw, to make it more formal, ano yung x sub 0, x to the power of 0, x to the power of 1, and x to the power of n is kani, no, yung coefficients equated to 0. So, n minus 1, cn plus n plus 2, n plus 1, c n plus 2, plus n cn minus cn is equal to 0. Okay. So, mabilin dapat dire is katong mas dako. No? Sa left-hand side, ang mas dako og index. So, mabilin sa left-hand side is cn plus 2. This become cn plus 2 is equal to n minus 1 plus n plus 2, n plus 1 plus n minus 1 times c sub n all over this one. Ay, hala. Wala din si kamala din din. So, siya appeal. So, denominator din na siya. Okay. Negative. Yeah, negative. Sakto. Negative. Very good. So, na-simplify sa taas. N squared minus n plus n minus 1 So, negative sa tanan ni siya. I mean, na siya parenthesis dapat dili. Mawala ni. Sakto, n squared minus 1 lang na mabilin. Diba? Assuming it's negative, wala pa na ako i-distribute. Correct? Okay. So, ato na yung E. N plus 1. N minus 1. Okay, at least ay makancel. No? Convenient. Negative. N minus 1 over N plus 2. C sub N. Okay, so we have an expression for everything else. Okay. Okay, so we're halfway there. We have an expression for C2, for C3, and everything else. Okay. So, ano niyang tricky part. So, ako lang sa i-copy. Remember that our given equation is a second order. No? So, technically, our arbitrary constants are a sub 0 and a sub 1. So, atong na-iset daan si a sub 0 and a sub 1 are arbitrary. Meaning they could not be obtained unless not the initial value conditions. And atong final answer could be in terms of a sub 0 and a sub 1. Okay? So, set natin daan as a sub 0 and a sub 1 arbitrary. Ano? Wala mo din nagamit og a dahil, no? C. C sub 0 and C sub 1. Okay, C sub 0 and C sub 1 are arbitrary. Okay. You have an expression for C sub 2. C sub 2 is equal to 1/2 C sub 0. You have an expression for C sub 3, 0. And for everything else, so next step, pangitaon ng mga coefficients. Okay. So, bear with me lang sa kaninga part, no? Medyo taas na siya, pero kaya ba? If n is equal to 0, so if n is equal to 0, C2, diba? Okay. C2 is equal to positive 1 over 2, kani, no? C2 is equal to 1/2 C sub 0. when n is equal to 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So, 0 na siya. Okay? So, tinood na eh. C3 equal to 0. When n is equal to 2, C4. C4. 2 minus 1 is 1. So, negative 1 over 2 plus 2 is 4. C sub 2. Okay. But, we know C sub 2 to be 1 half C sub 0. Okay. So, this becomes negative 1 times, or negative 1 over 2 over 4. I mean 2 times 4. C sub 0. Okay. Is this clear? Kung di na ako napag-obtain? No? Just substitute 2 here. 2 minus 1 is negative. 2 minus 1 is 1. So negative 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. C of 2 is C2. But C2 is 1 half C sub 0. So negative 1, 4 times 1 half. Yeah. I hope that's clear. N is equal to 3. Would anyone want to guess? How much is C sub 5? Okay, very good. 0. Substitute na to 3 dire. C3. Sinili natin i-solve. No? But C3 is 0 man. So, well, lucky for us. 0. 4. So this becomes C sub 6 is equal to, actually, na may pattern mag-emerge, no? Pero para sure, pwede kaya po itong balik term sa ato ang relation. No? So, tatawagin na ito, ano eh? Recurrence relation. Ako may label din eh. Pwede malimot. Double arms ito. Relation. So, when n is equal to 4, C6 is equal to 4 minus 1 is 3. So, negative 3 over 4 plus 2 is 6. 6. C4. Again, it might be tempting to reduce this to negative 1 half. Diba? But, i-retains na ito ang mga kuan. No? Mga integers para makita itong pattern. Okay. And we know C4 to be negative 1 times 2, 4. So, mawala si negative. Positive na siya. This becomes 1 times 3 all over 2 times 4 times 6. 2 times 4 times 6. C0. Of course, C7 is 0. C8. So, if dili sa'yo pa kung pagmata-mata sa pattern, positive, negative na ni siya. 1 times 3 times 5. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. And so on, so forth. So far, like sa tag mga 10 seconds. Questions? i-retain ang negative sign sa numerator. Dili ba kani? Dili ba na-retain? Okay. Kuan. Well, technically, dili man siya negative 2 eh. Kani negative. Okay. Ana. Pwede naman siguro. Pero later, no, I think mas conventional nga ipagawa si negative because mas dali siya makuan, mas dali ma-simplify, no? Kaya ang negative man god, negative nga kuan, nga number, ang negative 1, especially kung power series, na yung mga may tabo nga pag pause ako ha. Okay, isa. Okay, sorry for that, no? Abay ko song questions ani i-retain ang negative. Namugoy times nga later, especially if i iusan na nato ang mga numbers sa summation symbol na pagbalik. Ang negative one is magbalik ang pattern, no? So maybe ang negative one is erased to something power, no? Example n. So if n is even, actually the same sa atong kuan I think, no? N eh. When n is even, negative, kung n is every kuan, dili necessarily n is even, 2n minus 1 siguro ni, no? Every time may magkuan, mag-jump ang symbol ay ang negative, no? Negative dili negative. So yeah, na-erase mo na to ang negative 1 sa some power later, no? Such that mas convenient if ipagawas na to negative. Okay? So siguro later mas ma-appreciate na to anong ang negative is pwede na dili i-retain. Okay? I hope na answer imong question, Lawrence. Sige. So, okay. Ano ita? Yeah, I think magpanan no? Padayon na to ni even if dili na to so that ang N7, 8 something, kaya alam tayo nag-emerge ng pattern. Actually, next step is ikuan na, no? I-combine na tanan. Yeah. This is the tricky part na, no? Yeah. General solution, y of x is equal to of this form, di ba? Ang atong assumed solution sa atong differential equation is the summation of x, c sub n to the power of times x to the power of n. Na kung ato ning tagsa-tagsa, this becomes c sub 0, x to the power of 0 equal to 1, plus c sub 1x, plus c sub 2 x squared, plus c sub 3 x cubed, so on, so forth. Okay? So, muna itong solution. So, again, arbitrary c sub 0, c sub 1. Ang kani sila, kani atong gi-perform sa taas, these are the coefficients of each of this, no? Each of these elements, no? Or parts. So, kung ato ning i-rewrite, y is equal to, before that, tama rin mo rin ako nagdumani kanina, no? So, isa po sa things nga to i-watch out is if natay pwede ma-combine into some form of factorial, no? Especially kani, no? Factorial man ni siya, 2 times 4, di ba? If we want this one to be 1 times 2, no? Meaning, ipagawas na to si 2. So, pila ka to ang ipagawas? Or gi-factor out, I mean. Duha, di ba? So, 2 squared. Or this could be simplified as negative 1 all over 2 squared. This is 2 factorial. No? 2 factorial. Okay. Meaning, kani could also be simplified as 1 times 2 times 3. So, kitang tanga na tulupod ka 2. 2 cube. 1 times 2 times 3 is 3 factorial. Kani, so negative 1 times 3 times 5. Sa taas natin, mabuhat na factorial. So, 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. So, upat ka 2s atong gi-factor out. Palamay mo siyang 4 factorial. And so on, so forth. No? So, yan ang pattern ang nag-emerge. So, balik to dire. Okay. C sub 0 plus C sub 1 times X plus C sub 2. What is C sub 2? 1/2 C sub 0. That is C sub 2 times X squared. So, sa final answer, no, this is the final answer already. Don't forget kaning mga x's x, x squared, x cubed. No? Kaya kaning atong perform nga pattern, finding, coefficients lang na sila. So, this is first expression, second, third. When n is equal to 3. Ano C3. What is C3? 0. Okay, 0. Plus 0. C4. What is C4? Diba? Okay. Plus negative 1. 2 squared. 2 factorial. C sub 0. X to the power of 4. Okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. plus C sub 5 is 0 plus sa C sub 6 kani. Yes, if as if lang ako niyan, ha, na magina siya negative, di ba? Kani siya negative. 1 times 3 all over 2 cube 3 factorial C sub 0 x to the power of 6 so on and so forth. I guess enough na siya. C sub 6 isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C sub 7 is 0. C sub 8 is this one. Okay. So I think pwede na ito dire mag-generalize. Y is equal to kani wala man siya partner, no? So tuloy kayo na siya. Nala na siya dire. C1 x plus, if you'd observe, everything else, so wala man ang mga zero. So everything else is na I, C sub 0. No? So ito i-factor out C sub 0. Now, ang last part is the hardest. Okay? Ato summarize ni sila sa isa ka. Actually, kana i-summarize sa isa ka summation or sigma notation. No? Well, kung dili makaya, kung dili gid obvious, no? Kung dili gid obvious, kung walay pattern, no? Walay, namang times nga ang power series is walay pattern nag-emerge. So this will be our final answer. Okay? So pwede na siya. Pero if na pattern nag-emerge, mag-combine gina siya sa isa ka power series. Okay? So, sige lang. This will be the final step, actually. Dili po necessary ang atong sigma notation is magsugod gid permi sa 0, no? Pwede naman dili. So, if dili makaya, okay, if lisod i-detect ang pattern, ani nilang first 2, no? Pwede na i-retain as is. So, this becomes 1 plus 1 half x squared or, yeah, 1 half x squared plus, pwede na ito dili magsugod og kuan sigma notation kay marilisod man i-discern ang pattern gikan dili even from this expression to this one. Okay ra ni, no? Kaya na naman ni pattern. So kaning tulo malagwala, no? So kaning tulo pwede na ni sa ibulag. So this is just 1, this is 1 half x squared. Kaya factor out ng C sub 0. Yeah. So dili ta magsugod og sigma notation. Infinity. Where do you think magsugod si n? Okay, very good, no? So, aside lugar sa fact nga, this is si n sub 0, n sub 1, so this is n sub 2. And timing pod, ang mga puan na to. So, how will we summarize this one? Wala naman si sub 0. Kung sa atong x to the power of what kahani? Magsugod man sa 4. Next is 6. Okay? Next anay is 8. Okay, very good. 2n. 2n ha kay nagsugod na tag 2, and is 4. Okay? So when n is 3, sorry, when n is 3, x is raised to the power of 6. So 2n. Okay, very good. Next, wala ni siya si C sub 0. Denominator una. Denominator. 2 to the power of, ang 2 is balik-balik. Yes, very good. 2 raised to the power of n. and factorial. Okay. Factorial. Ang negative 1, no? Ano ba ni negative dili? Yan na, ni dili negative. Kani, dili na yung negative, dili wala, no? So, raise ni siya to the power of, convenient if this is raised to the power of 2. Ano, kung 2, dili pwede 2, dili na siya raised to the power of 2. Kaya kung raised to the power of 2 ni siya, walang negative, no? Ang even noon, no? Ang odd, ang odd is, this is n is equal to 3, n minus 1. If n, sige daw, kung n minus 1, when n is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, so negative. When n is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, negative 1 squared is positive. Okay, so sakto. No? So, isa rin sa reasons, or I think maning reason nga nung pwede ang negative 1 is atong i-lain. No? So, n minus 1. Okay, very good. So, ito nang na summarize si negative 1. Ang last is kani. No? Dire is 1, 1 times 3, 1 times 3 times 5, 1 times 3 times 5 times 7. No? So, kana nga series, ano tayo makuha na? 1, 3, 5, dot, dot, dot. What do you think? Kung saan expression ani? Kung magsugod ta og 2. Meaning, when n is 2, 3, when n is 4, 7 ni siya. No? N plus 1 ni dire. Kasi double factorial. Kani, double factorial. N plus 1 factorial. Yun siguro. No? Yes. I think masakto na siya. 2n minus 3. Very good. And this is the final answer. And time. Kila ba ni ka minutes? Questions? Yeah, wala na siyang final answer, guys. No, ang lisod lang apart is ang pag-translate from this one to this one ba? Kani dali naman eh. Kaya mo na to ni. Kaya dali lang man i-follow through. Ano, dali naman siya i-follow. Naman tayo kung ana. So, kani, okay, this is the final answer. If makaya og, if na pattern, makaya magina og summarize sa isa ka sigma notation. No? Kaning duha di maginis lang mga kuan. Summarize. So, wala na siya. That's the final answer. 2 times 2 is 4 minus 3 is 1. So, sakto. 1. When n is 3, 2 times 3 is 6 minus 3. 3. Sakto. So, sakto na siya. Any questions? Kaya na ba? Kaya na ninyo mag-solve of power series? Kadam na mo itong nanong 2n minus 3? Kani ang 2n minus 3 ang malag sort of shorthand ani nga kuan. Kani nga product, no? 1 times 3 times 5. So sugod ta sa 2, no? Sugod ta sa 2. When n is 2, 2 times 2, that's 4 minus 3 is 1. Sakto, di ba? Negative 1 times 1 pa man ni dire. Dire negative 1 times 1 times 3. Dire mag-expect ta sa coefficient sa x to the power of 8 o pala sa silong ha. Mag-expect ta although muna ning final answer. Mag-expect ta nga ang coefficient ni x to the power of 8 is equal to, kung sundo nato ning notation ay kaning atong newly formed na sigma ha. So naman atong n. N is 2, 3. N is 4, no? N is 4. When n is 4, sakto. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 to the power of 4. 4 factorial. 4 minus 1 is 3. Negative 1 to the power of 3. So, add man siya. So, na-retain si negative 1. 2n minus 3. So, na siya. N is 4. 2 times 4 is 8 minus 3. That's 5. So, 5. But hindi lang 5 at ibutang, no? 5 times 3 times 1. Ayan na. Sakto na siya. Okay. Kuha. Delete ni siya kanang kuan ha. Delete ni siya 2n minus 3 in itself. Dapat na agad iyahang mga preceding ng mga kuan, ng mga integers. Okay. Delete siya the same aning kani, no? Or aning kaning other parts nga na-summarize ni sila tanan sa isa lang expression. But kani, dapat na agad ning preceding parts 1 times 3 times 5. Actually, nailahing ang notation ani, no? Pi notation. So, pwede na ta-delete maging ato. Okay, so I hope na understand mo, Lex. Okay. Welcome. Questions? So, stop na kong record ha. Sige, sa man Eugene. Aw. Two n minus 3 factorial. Pwede ba? Ay double factorial? So, manang double factorial. Sige, wait lang sa Nikoan.